when truth is called a lie, the lights go out, darkness falls, and indeed, if your light is darkness, how very deep will the darkness be? All the words in this book can be compressed into one word, the eternal word, Jesus the Christ.
Recently, Father Thomas Paul posted on Twitter, "It is sad that some traditional Catholic priests do not show interest in conferring baptism to babies as early as possible. St. Francis Xavier was very particular in conferring baptism to babies as early as possible." You may recall Father Paul from past videos. Please prayerfully consider contributing to his important ministry by clicking on the link that I have posted down below in the comments section. The first Christians baptized their children as noted in the Catholic Advance. Early historians as Origen, Cyprian, and St. Augustine, and others tell us that the Church received a tradition from the apostles that baptism should be given to children as early as possible because God's grace should not be refused to anyone. And what does the Catechism of Trent have to say about this? It says, "The faithful are earnestly to be exhorted to take care that their children are brought into the Church as soon as it can be done with safety, to receive solemn baptism. Since infant children have no other means of salvation except baptism, we may easily understand how grievously those persons sin who permit them to remain without the grace of the sacrament longer than necessity may require, particularly at an age so tender as to be exposed to numberless dangers of death." In 1911, 6 years before the Code of Canon Law of 1917 was promulgated, the Catholic Advance added this: "When should a newborn baby be baptized?" Answer: as soon as possible. It is dangerous to delay the ceremony. Then in 1917, all existing canon law, which existed in a similar manner as common law, was codified, and it said, "Infants should be baptized as soon as possible. Pastors and preachers should frequently stress with the faithful the gravity of their obligation." Then in 1932, the Catholic Advance once again tackled this question. Question: how soon after birth should children be baptized? It quotes the Code of Canon Law of 1917, and then it goes on to saying, "The meaning 'as soon as possible' cannot be determined with absolute exactness. It is considered, however, to be within the power of the bishop to demand that the baptism be conferred within 8 days after birth." We refer to the instruction of the Sacred Congregation of the Propaganda on July 31st of 1902. With Nolden and Vermeersch-Kreuzen, we hold that one cannot delay baptism over a month without sinning gravely against the law. So before the Second Vatican Council, it was thought that as soon as possible was within 8 days of birth. It also seemed that a delay over 1 month constituted a grave sin. But as with most things, the Second Vatican Council changed everything, and everything became ugly and distorted. The Catechism of the Catholic Church is about as clear as mud. In fact, it seems to purposely de-emphasize the seriousness of a child dying without being baptized. But it does so by emphasizing to parents that their babies just might go to heaven anyway. Also, it doesn't give a time frame in which parents must have their children baptized. However, it does acknowledge all the more urgent is the Church's call not to prevent little children coming to Christ through the gift of holy baptism. So the question is, does the Novus Ordo Church itself either prevent or at least delay children coming to Christ through the gift of holy baptism? As most of you who follow this channel know, I started my journey in the Novus Ordo Church. And it was a long time ago, but I have a vague memory that my wife and I had to take a class before we could even get our first son baptized. So I Googled to see whether this is still a thing, and evidently it is. I'm going to show the first result that popped up on my Google search, and evidently this is typical. I'm not trying to pick on this particular church, but I'm just using it as an example. Question: do both parents have to attend a baptismal preparation class? Answer: yes. Both parents must attend a baptismal preparation class if this is their first child being baptized. If both parents have attended the baptismal preparation class at some time earlier, we would welcome their participation, but do not require that they attend it again. Question: do we have to register for the baptismal preparation class, or can we just show up? Answer: we ask that all parents register prior to attending the class by calling the parish office. Our classes tend to be filled to capacity, so please consider registering at least 2 months in advance. So it seems that there's a lot of red tape that the Novus Ordo Church throws at parents to keep them from having their children baptized in a timely manner. The illicit code of canon law of 1983 doesn't help anything since it is self-contradictory. The first part charges parents with having their children baptized in the first few weeks, but then the second part says that parents must be prepared properly for it. So evidently, the Novus Ordo Church interprets this as requiring parents to take a preparatory class for baptism. Here's a poll that I did on my Twitter page. Of the people I polled, more than 50% of the baptisms say that they're occurring after the baby is 1 month old. Please recall that less than a century ago, this would have been considered a grave sin. These numbers are even more interesting when you consider that the people who follow my page tend to be more traditional. This may suggest that even traditional priests are delaying the baptism of children, as Father Paul observed. And this might be because, as I've noted in a prior video, even some traditional priests are following the illicit code of canon law of 1983. So it seems that the Novus Ordo Church has made a decision that it is more important to try to bring lax parents back to the pews and pay weekly donations via baptism preparation class than it is to get babies baptized in a prompt and timely manner. Has this tactic been successful? No, it's been a dismal failure, at least judging by the results of this poll I did on Twitter. I asked, do you know of anyone who returned to the church or began attending church weekly as a result of a baptism preparation class prior to having their children baptized? None of the respondents to this poll knew of anyone. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back again within a week with another one. But in the meantime, please check out my Facebook page and my Twitter page. Every day I post additional content that you won't find on this YouTube channel. And also, please pray for the church.